Welcome back, fellow stackers. Silver Gold Man here with another edition of Silver Gold and much more. Today's date is Wednesday, October 15, 2014. And in case you're new to the channel or haven't heard this, I'll mention it one more time. I'm not a licensed financial advisor. I'm just a passionate stacker with a long history of calling the markets and researching conspiracies. So 2 weeks ago, I began my first video here on this channel, and I was talking about the radioactive price of silver and gold and a stock market crash caused by the Swiss gold referendum. And the reason why is because the Swiss have this system called direct democracy. I went on to mention it again in a following video, and I also mentioned how you won't hear that kind of talk out here because most of the truthers are all paid off. Yes, that's one of the topics I was mentioning here, the Silver Shield Network. I'll mention this one more time, that don't go watching a few videos on my YouTube channel and say, hey, you haven't proved your point yet. This is an ongoing series here. I will prove to you that these people are silver shills and they're part of the disinfo gang. They all have different purposes. For example, BP Earth Watches has nothing to do with gold and silver, but you go mention those words in any of his comments and he'll quickly delete you and ban you. This is what I found out myself. So he's there to talk about everything else, fearmonger to crap, misinformation, and tell you that gold and silver are worthless. Similar to what we see from Montegraph, Dutch Sense, I'm not sure if you know these people, Corey's CTV, they all have their different roles here, and I promise you I will get into every single one of these people. If you want to see who they all are, I'll be adding more, but you can click on See All. And here was where it became evident that Godlike Productions was censoring the truth. So if you go watch that one, you'll see here that I was predicting the rise of gold, the drop of gold and silver, and that's what tonight's video is all about, is how these people are all out while they're pumping and dumping again. Well, they haven't dumped yet, but the dump's coming, but right now they're pumping, and well, yeah. So someone said I make videos somewhat similar to this gentleman here, Tacos Mananeros. I don't know very much about this person, but I'll tell you one thing. I was talking about how they play both sides of the field here. It's called dummy pool. So they want you to believe, well, you know, one is the bad guy, then the other one's going to be pointing out, well, no, he's the bad guy, and it's back and forth, ass clown, you know, dummy pool that we see here between all of these players. I mean, for example, right down to, if you don't know if you know this gentleman here, Corbett Report, just, you know, before Bitcoins dropped from $685 down to, I think they're barely hanging on here at $380, I think, last time I checked. He came out along with Mike Maloney here saying how Bitcoins were a safe place to invest. That's right, safe place to store your wealth. That was his exact words from Corbett Report. Store your wealth in Bitcoins. So it's very obvious here to many of us that the system is rigged. They have their own players. You're not going to see any real truthers interviewed by these people. They put their own ass clowns here so you folks can watch them and take their word on things. And I'll be honest with you, the only person I've found so far with any type of credibility on stuff has been a fellow by the name of Jim Rogers. Now, oddly enough, you won't see him interviewed with any of these people either. Okay, so in this latest thing here, Taco's going after Harvey Organ. I'll get into that in a second here. There is going to be a collapse. I believe there will be, but let's before we get into that, let's tackle Taco. It's tackle. Okay, so Taco here is being now featured on the Day Trade Show. Honestly, I wouldn't. You can't make up this stuff. You can't make up the BS that these people try to pass along. And look, coincidentally, you know, look who's on the side here. Unbelievable, eh? How these people. I'll have to get into these two characters because these two, I got a mother load of lies on these people. The stuff that they've tried to pull on the silver community is just unbelievable. But let's stick here with what many of you are already aware, how Don Harrell from the Day Trader Show was telling folks that he was selling his silver, you know, at 21. That's right. He was writing a book in 2009, started selling it on YouTube, along with the help of another silver pusher back in the day, was by the name of Da Vinci 15, who then became a Bitcoin pumper, just like the rest of these people. Even, like I said, Mike Maloney just recently came out and said that, you know, Bitcoin is a good place to put your money. Honestly, these people, it's a racket here on YouTube, and I hope you pay attention because You'll never see the stuff that goes on here. So Taco now is on whose show? I'm not making this up. October 15, 2014, Day Trader Show. Listen to this crap.
This is going to be the third appearance or the second appearance, depending on the order of these videos, of this guy. And I can't think of anyone who fits the mold better for what we're going to do with this series of videos than Tacos Mana Narrows. Tacos, how are you?
How's it going, folks?
It's Tacos.
Tacos!
Yes. Tacos, I want to do something fun with my channel, and on a weekly basis.
Okay, on a weekly basis at that, with this guy. Honestly, I don't know if you heard of his style of videos, Tacos, but anyways, and I think they do that on purpose, really, is to bring out someone absolutely silly and stupid to try and debunk these players. Okay, so let's deal with this Harvey Organ here, what he's saying here, and in his latest story here, he said that his blog spot has been taken down, his website where he's been doing all these calls, apparently. And his latest one was like how it's all turning to crap here in December. And there could be a little bit of truth to that. But what's odd here is that he says that gold is going to reach $4,000 in November of this year and $10,000 in January of 2015. Well, holy jumping, you know, when we're sitting at a price right now of $12.40, what does that tell you? It tells you better hurry up there and get out buy some gold right now, don't you think? Because that's what I get out of that. When I read this stuff, I'm like, okay, you're pumping gold then. Basically, you're saying, you know, it's all falling to hell here in December, and gold's going to be 4,000, so we better get out there and buy it. And by the way, he's not the only one ass clown pumping this stuff. Zero Hedge, who's been promoted by Max Kaiser many times, JSnip4, many of this corrupt gang, Brother John, they're all in it. They're totally unpatriotic, total opposite, okay? They are your New World Order shills here on YouTube. And yes, this whole website's part of it. They're saying the surge in gold, it might be because of the Swiss gold referendum. There is no surge. There's no surge here. In fact, we're going down, folks. And let's use some common sense here. Here we are, October 15, with the price of gold at $12.40. For it to reach $4,000 in November, and let's give them some slack. I'll make it November 30th. Let's say for gold to reach $4,000 by November 30th, and today being October 15th, we would have to go up by $60 minimum every single day from here to November. And that's assuming the market was open on the weekends too. So there's no chance we're going to 4,000. In fact, I'm going to stick with what I'm saying is coming here, folks. We're going to have a crash. I seriously believe we're going to have a crash. It was my very first video on this YouTube channel. I said, folks, hang tight. There's something big coming up here, and that's why I opened up this whole silver gold, man, because I figured, you know, I'm going to make an attempt here to make another reach out in the silver gold community and see if it's honest or if it's all fictitious. So the real players, I'm sure, will gather up on this channel, while the fake shill network will attack it, or as I assume will probably happen, they'll stay away from me because they don't want to bring their YouTubers or their viewers, subscribers onto my channel for them to waken up to what's been said here and what's been done. So recent stories are saying what? That's right. Has the market crash begun? Well, it says that October historically has been the most volatile month for the stocks. And here we have another story just coming out today. It says what? A violent stock market crash could be around the corner. Yeah, warns a think tank? Really? A think tank. Really? I don't know about that. Let's go see here. The Bank of International Settlements. Okay, so that think tank is a little bit more than what we suspect it is, but I'll get into that in a second. First, I want to get back to this referendum because, and if you don't know what this is about, I'll quickly go over again. November 30th, they're going to the polls, and they're all going to vote, not electronically. They all have to sign a paper. It's on paper, the Swiss. And basically, they're going to be asking the Swiss National Bank to stop selling their gold. And also the bank will have to bring all of its gold back into Switzerland because some of it is in the UK and here in Canada. And also the gold, they will have to buy enough gold to represent 20% of the Swiss National Bank's assets. This is going to have a big effect here, folks. Okay, trust me. So it goes on to say here that until the end of the Bretton Woods Act, the Swiss managed to accumulate large gold reserves thanks to continuous current account surplus. And for years, the Swiss and the Swiss National Bank resisted the rather Keynesian mindset of the International Monetary Fund. Remember this, the IMF, this is very important, and joined the institution only in 1992, so they're fresh to this whole system here. The international, you can read this if you want, but basically I'm going to jump to this part here because, as I said, I've been out on YouTube online since 2008 when I predicted the 2008 stock market crash 6 months earlier, and since then I'd continued following the different countries that were buying gold. And this is interesting because it says here in the year 2000 the IMF intensified the demonetization of gold campaign that had started in the 1970s, and I'll have to get into that another time here because this is absolutely valuable information here. It's been non-stop, yet the charts show us something totally different. This only goes back to the year 2000, October 2004. As you can see here, we were barely over $400. We've continued going on, so they can demonetize it as much as they want. Gold is speaking for itself here, and now we're seeing the manipulation all the way back down. So what's another interesting part about all of this is that it goes on to say that where is it? Right here. For the proponents of the gold referendum, the Swiss National Bank gold sales were the destruction of what their parents and grandparents achieved during the Bretton Woods period. Now that's interesting here, folks, because we're hearing a lot of YouTubers that are trying to make the people from Switzerland look like they're a bunch of Nazis. I don't think so. I'm not going to say the Nazis haven't built a home there, but there's no doubt about it that all of these people are not Nazis, okay? I'm not going to buy into that stuff. So what's interesting is the fact that now the Swiss National Bank, they're opposing this initiative, and they've warned that a yes vote would severely hamper the ability of the central bank to conduct its business. And what business is that? Printing money out of thin air. That's basically what would happen, okay? And what's interesting is that this whole gold referendum was proposed by the SVP, and it's one of the largest parties in Switzerland, so there's a very good chance here that this is going to go through. And I'll have to talk about this because the fact that they can have these referendums just based on 100,000 signatures, can you see how things would change across Canada, US, every other country if we're able to just simply get 100,000 signatures and force our government to have a referendum when everyone had to vote on paper? I hope so. Very important. Okay, so here again, BIS is warning you of a violent reversal of the global markets. And I don't think they're joking about this, folks. That's the Switzerland flag. That's their compound there in Basel. Basel. What's important here, the BIS warned earlier this summer that the world economy is in many respects more vulnerable to a financial crisis than it was in 2007. I believe we're on the verge of another collapse, folks, and they may say it has something to do with this. I believe we're definitely in hard times, but I also believe that it has something to do with the fact that there's going to be this referendum. So here's a list of countries here that belong to the Bank of International Settlements, okay? And you can take a look here. I'll leave a link down below if you want to see if your country's there. You'll notice how Syria, Libya is not there. I wonder why. Okay, so interesting. If you're wondering if the IMF has anything to do with the BIS, well, there you go. The IMF, jointly with the Bank of International Settlements, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. I don't think so. The bankers are behind it. Okay, what's my call on gold? Well, I remember Jim Rogers. I think it was in 2013. He'd made a video. I believe it was earlier on in 2013, maybe mid-2013, and he said that he saw, he said he wouldn't be a gold buyer until we went back down to $1,000. I believe we're going back down to $1,000. I know it's hard to believe, but I seriously think that with this stock market crash that's coming up, we will see another low here, and I believe we may hit 1,000, maybe even 975. And silver, same deal. We're going down here, folks. I hate to say it. I wish I were wrong, and I'm possibly maybe wrong, but I have a feeling we're going to go back down and touch that 1580, 16. I'll have to get back to you on that one, but I have a feeling that these people are correct. They're giving us a warning here that things are about to turn on us, and if they do, then chances are it'll be like 2008, where we saw a drop, a temporary drop in the price of precious metals. Hang tight, more coming up.